24/7. Radio Victoria. Siempre contigo.
Bueno, es tremenda bendición, glorioso tener al equipo. It's glorious to have the team again. This is what we are meant to do. Literally, I mean, it's a happy, joyous moment. I'm gonna start with a little editorial first, and this is going to be in English and a little kick in Spanish. This is the fifth hour, the epic fifth hour, every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. We're receiving, getting an influx of lots of refugees here in El Paso, via Juarez, coming from Central America, some of them from other parts of the world. There was all of a sudden a Russian kid, a very young kid, alone, who he got to shelter, some people from Syria. First of all, let me tell you something. The reason why they are here already, and we at Caminos de Vida, Ways of Life Church, are sheltering them is because they have been already vetted by the immigration system, by the immigration authorities. And they have been sponsored. We're getting them plane tickets, bus tickets, and sending them to different destinations through the country, where they have family, friends, etc., etc. And now comes my rant. I'm sorry, it's going to be a little bit of a rant because, first of all, you know, my kudos to the American people, all of us, heroes. You feel powerful when you say, yes, I am an American and I can do something towards helping my fellow man. You feel powerful because you know that if you have the power, you have to use it for good, for the betterment of humanity, and that's what we have to do. As a newly anointed, I would say, social anthropologist, I am more than anything. I went to Queensland University 2 weeks ago and I got my degree in anthropology. It was a joyous occasion. And I am determined to start teaching anthropology, help kids from elementary and up. And I truly do believe that we're going to end stupidity, ignorance, and racism and classism and segregationism in 2 generations if we teach our kids anthropology, the study of man, of humanity, since age 6. Because you're going to understand that we come all from the same place, and we should go to the same place as well. Now the shame on you goes to the governments, the corrupt, crooked politicians from Central American countries, those who receive millions of dollars from the United Nations, the United States of America, from us, taxpayers, and other countries in the world, and they just gorge their pockets. They make their pockets fat with money, with dollars, and they do nothing for their people. I interviewed literally hundreds of people. We help them out going to their final destination here in the States. And the perennial answer is always the same. The government doesn't do anything. We have the Maras gangs ripping us apart as families, killing our family members, chopping our arms, cutting, taking eyes out of our faces, or cutting fingers out of our, family members, kidnapping our kids. So the only thing we can do is to just flee our country. I said, well, now I'm calling for the United Nations and I'm calling to everybody in the world, and let's all together call places like El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, failed states. Their politicians have no clue of what they're doing. They shouldn't be. They should be ashamed of themselves. They don't care. I mean, the only thing they care is about saving their own lives. They don't give a rat's ass about the money. They don't give a rat's ass about the people. And they actually deal with the gangs just by paying them off, buying them off, say, hey, you got a piece of land, do whatever you want with people, kill them. They don't provide the essential security for these people to be alive. So what's the perennial answer from most of the migrants when I ask them, well, was it worth it? Why did you decide to leave your country? Well, because I have kids and I want them to have a future. Just that, to have a future. Not to be recruited by gangs, not to be killed, not to be executed, not to be turned into thieves and murderers, not to be living in a third world situation for the rest of their lives. So I propose this. I already told people and members of the United Nations we have the Eden Project, in which we actually project to create like different towns of 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people towns. Ruled by the United Nations. Do not throw the responsibility altogether to the United States of America. We got many countries in this beautiful continent that can participate. And then they have empty lands that could be used to populate and to help those that are running away from bombs, from gangs, from misery, from anguish, from despair, and create new towns, help them grow. Do not punish them with taxes. Do the George's thing, another American idea. Just tax the land, let them help grow, and let's have a peaceful world. We can do that, and I even offer, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, you are the Secretary General of the United Nations. Step down from your job. You're a useless, worthless politician. You do nothing. You're a bureaucrat. You just come on. I mean, admit it. The United Nations, I mean, I got to agree with Trump on that one. I mean, they're really useless. They don't do anything. And I'm sorry, but somebody call them out. Whoever calls them out, I mean, for real. For all I care, I mean, the United Nations are doing nothing. I offer myself, I will take just 75% of your salary. Why? Because I will get paid for doing twice the job you're doing, twice the things you're doing, project things, spend way less than the $4.5 trillion you spend per year so-called projects that are destined to cure the illnesses that are corrupting and polluting humanity, to help humans in distress. You're doing nothing. I mean, you go all over, countries in distress in Africa, the Middle East, Central America, South America. People are dying of dysentery, of, allergies. I mean, come on, being killed by gangs, by terrorist groups, being extortion, being pushed to move away from their places. Kids that are being recruited by gangs, by Boko Haram, by ISIS, by the Mara Salvatruchas. I'm not talking about the whole war here, just summing it up. Mr. Ban Ki-moon, you're doing nothing. I'll take your place. How about that for a change? Retire. Enjoy your life. And I will even invite you to those fancy cocktails that you very often have in the United Nations to do nothing, to solve absolutely nothing. I'm not going to go there. Instead, I'm going to go and take my meal with the refugees, such as I did today, and help them have a solution. And talk to them, because they have many ideas that you never hear, you never listen to. So how about we do that? Let's switch to Spanish, so the message is in Spanish and clear too. And we have a bilingual message, so everybody understands. In this side of the border, on the other side of the border, and all over the world as well. Señor Ban Ki-moon, secretario de las Naciones Unidas, renuncie. Usted no está haciendo nada. Yo le tomo su puesto. 75% del sueldo. ¿Cómo la ve? ¿Y sabe qué? Eso tomo yo. Voy a hacer el triple de cosas que usted hace. Tengo el proyecto de las ciudades paraíso para que 5.000, 10.000 personas puedan ser ubicadas libres de impuestos. Solo el impuesto a la tierra, como diría mi héroe político Henry George, otro idealista americano, estadounidense. Y vamos a salvar la situación de los inmigrantes en estrés, en situación de angustia, que se van de los estados fallidos como El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, que no pueden vivir ahí porque dicen: queremos un mejor futuro para nuestros hijos, no queremos que nos los maten. Señor Ban Ki-moon, secretario general de las Naciones Unidas, usted no está haciendo nada. Déjeme, yo tomo su puesto, tomo el 75% de su sueldo. Mire, les ahorro dinero y la mitad del presupuesto de arriba de 4.5 billones de dólares que usan ustedes para solucionar los problemas de la humanidad que nunca solucionan. Lo reto a eso. Y lo invito a los cócteles fancy que tienen en las Naciones Unidas para resolver absolutamente nada. Y yo me voy a comer con los refugiados, que con ellos vamos a resolver los problemas del mundo. Mucho mejor que lo hagan ustedes, muy bien educaditos y bien vestidos, pero sin hacer nada. Y ahora sí, los invitados. This is a time for the table, the Love Coffee Hour team. These beautiful, wonderful people that are my family, that I love them, and I love to have them here. Mr. Matt Sistruk, how are you doing? Let's introduce all of themselves. You guys go jump in.
All right.
I got you here, eh?
Oh, you got me there?
I got you here.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. The Love Coffee Hour team is here. Let's give a warm welcome to the Love Coffee Hour team. I'm very happy to have them, man, again. And I hope this comes very often because we had epic shows. And we're going to go today with effective action also to help you out. You got to hear them out. This is going to be very helpful for you guys, for real. Listen to them. First one, Mr. Matt Sistruk.
Marcelo, thank you so much for having us on the air, and I'm just so thankful for Ryan Adams and Emerson Hazard and our new legal correspondent, Richard L. Bay, joining me here for the 5th anniversary Love Coffee Hour reunion broadcast. Thank you so much. You were having us on the air back in 2016 from June through October, I think it was. We had a 5-month run. We had a lot of really good guests. Thank you to Ryan Adams, and thank you to Mr. Emerson Hazard. And now we're going to add to our correspondent team with the incomparable Richard Elbay, who has a YouTube channel that everybody listening should instantly subscribe to. Go to YouTube and search for Supreme Decisions. Supreme Decisions is something like I have never, ever seen before. And it's going to put you in touch with your rights, your God-given rights. And it's going to show you how to protect your rights from unlawful stops and illegal search and seizure. And it's going to arm you so that you can protect yourself from legal plunder. We're going to be talking about legal plunder, that concept that Frederic Bastiat first talked about back in 1850 in his classic essay, The Law, which you can get for free on Google. Just Google The Law, and I think the very first link that comes up is bastiat.org, and you can read The Law.
You know one thing, Matt, I believe it will be a great idea to have like a book club,
Yes,
reading club.
absolutely.
So people can actually have, we can even offer them to print it, a hard copy for them. I got a printer. I mean, and you know, when you download a PDF, you can actually print it. So we're going to plan more things. You know, we're going to plan like coffee meetings at Cubo,
absolutely.
Places like that, and invite our audience.
Yeah.
And you guys at the audience, you can call us at 915-772-8400. And of course, hit us on Facebook, social media, and give us ideas. I mean, we can meet with you. We'll be more than happy to meet you in person. And you get to know all the fine team, the wonderful team of Love Coffee Hour, and talk about all these things that you can use to learn in order to live a better, safer, more, let's say, happier life as well, too, right?
Right, exactly. And so, without further ado, I want to introduce the voice of Love Coffee Hour. And that would be Ryan Adams, who is going to tell us what the mission of Love Coffee Hour is.
In the 5th anniversary.
Thank you, Matt. It's good to be back on the air here in the luxurious confines of KVIV 1340 AM in El Paso,
That's
Texas.
what's the voice, right?
We're
That's
broadcasting
what's the voice.
live from El Paso, Texas, and Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico, a city divided by 2 countries. This is the Love Coffee Hour, where we are uniting a powerful international coffee culture by purposely and prosperously promoting our most peaceful solutions: love, life, coffee, grace, goodness, and gold. It is a pleasure to be back on the air with the Love Coffee Hour family. We have some new family members here in the studio, and hopefully pretty soon, our family member down in Sierra Blanca, Texas, who was not able to meet with us live here in the studio, he's going to call in and talk about all the wonderful things that we're doing with regard to peaceful solutions in West Texas. We're talking prison reform. We're talking food insecurity. We're talking effective economic action. So this will be a action-packed, jam-packed hour. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're in the right place at the right time here at the Love Coffee Hour.
Wonderful. Michael Munoz, thank you very much. Antonio Guerres is the new UN Secretary, General Secretary, the one who replaces Ban Ki-moon. Thank you for the information. A good point. Yeah, the same offer stays standing. I'll take 75% of what you get, what you get paid, and I will probably do twice of what you're doing because it has been in place for what, like a couple of months already. Algunos meses, ya no? Just pay me 75% of what you are getting, and you will see. I'll bring you solutions. Antonio Guerres from Portugal. Same thing. We didn't hear any new perennial solutions, so here we go. Sorry, I needed to clarify that so people get the right information. Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
Marcelo, would you put that call-in number out one more time for our friends in
absolutely.
Sierra Blanca?
Oh, sure. It's 915 772 8400. Everybody welcome to call us, of course.
915-772-8400.
That is correct.
And, of course, our life correspondent, our life coach correspondent, Mr. Emerson, Dr. Emerson Hazard of Kingdom Credit Management is also here in the studio with us. Emerson, say hello to the world. You're talking worldwide at KBIV1340.com and talking to Ciudad Juarez of Chihuahua, Mexico, El Paso, Texas, and around the world.
Hello, everyone. It is always a pleasure and a privilege to sit at the table with men who have such deep intellectual wells to reach into as we look at the problems and the issues that we face here in the world. And the wonderful thing, one of the powerful things that I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and we were discussing racism. And this was a white gentleman from Alabama, and we must have talked. We went back and forth over some issues for probably about 45 minutes, and at the end of the discussion, we came up with one powerful thought. If there were no fear, there would be no racism.
That's good. That's good.
So I'm going to pass the mic over to Mr. L. Bay to give us a little bit more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
Yeah, that was wonderful. And hello, everyone. Richard L. Bay, Supreme Decisions on YouTube. Give you a quick backstory. I started putting out this the channel late September 2017, and the reason being it was almost just to learn something as far as video, and it came from in 2012. I was charged in DeKalb County, Georgia, with racketeering, and the one thing about it, as you said, I was scared to death because I was charged with over 100 counts. Nobody wanted to represent me, and the ones that did want to represent me wanted a ton of money, which I did not have. And the biggest issue was everyone that I did speak to wanted me to take a deal, and I was just having what I call my brand new baby, and I wanted to make sure I was there for them, and everybody along the way, I was called horrible names. I was labeled as a terrorist and all kind of foolishness. But at the end of the day, it was no one loved me more than I loved me. And it was a crisis that put me on my knees, and it kept me on my knees. And even after I was exonerated, I was still on my knees. And it took a while before I accepted what was given to me that wasn't mine. So the channel became born of that. When I first started, I thought it was only going to be maybe 30, 40 videos. Now I'm over 120, and I was just telling Matt on the way over here, I started kind of planning it out a lot better. And as I'm seeing it, I'm probably going to have at least 1,000 videos before I'm finished. And it's something that I deem necessary because a lot of the information that's out there, it's written by people that are scared. They're writing things because they're taking cases. They're taking case law. And they're getting bits and pieces of it. And the bits and pieces aren't what actually helps you. It's actually the understanding of the case that you're looking at. So for me, I find joy in that people will tell me, dude, you showed me cases that I've never seen before. And to me, it's on the basics. Illegal search, illegal stops, even standing in the courtroom. It's what a police officer can and can't do, what their job description actually is. And the beautiful thing about it is 100+ videos in, I haven't had one police officer tell me that I was lying. I haven't had a judge tell me anything that I've said is wrong.
How many years is it over the 100?
I think it's 122 videos right now, and I've got about 6 more because this I have a series coming up next week. It's going to be purely Latin, and it's 7 to 10 basic phrases that you need to know in Latin because Latin is the one thing that actually moves the court. But if you listen to things going on in society, they'll tell you Latin is a dead language. Well, don't go to court then because they use it constantly.
Right.
You know, so it's one of those things that I make it a point to actually bring out, but I'm actually doing it now as probably a 10-episode series.
Wow.
It is.
So, but it's just those little things that'll actually kind of help you move along. And it was a guy, because like I have a lot of police officers that follow me. I have a lot of law firms that follow me. I have a lot of judges that follow me, FBI agents that follow me, and I always put my email out. These people actually contact me via email. We have conversations. And it's not that they're intentionally doing a lot of what they're taught to do a lot of the things that they're doing. And
That's right.
And part of that, it educates them, because the whole point is not for them to be in a state of anxiety. It's for them to get home too.
Right.
I have a brother that's a police officer. I have uncles that are police officers. A lot of my friends are police officers. A few of them have been shot. But it's a way to do the job, and it's also a way for people to actually protect themselves when they're going about their everyday life, pretty much. Because I know I'm getting long.
That's
No,
good.
no,
That's good.
No, you got the meat of the substance here today, man.
right.
And
But-
hey, let me say one thing,
Okay.
okay, before you continue. I was absolutely amazed at the content of Supreme Decisions on YouTube. And I highly, highly, highly right now recommend everyone who's listening, go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, because what we want to do is we want to get his subscriber following from the 2,000 range to the 2 million range.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because that is the value that he is giving away for free from his heart as a servant. He just basically wants to protect people, and that's really what Love Coffee Hour is all about. It's about peaceful solutions, and he is the embodiment. Richard L. Bay is the embodiment of a peaceful solution that is going to allow citizens of this country and our law enforcement community to interact peacefully and prosperously. So,
Absolutely.
go on ahead, Richard.
That's good.
Okay. Well, I'm actually kind of date myself a little bit. I just turned 44. I've been here in El Paso since I was 40. From the age of 16 to the age of 40, one of my favorite places to be on this planet is Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia is probably one of the most corrupt places that I've ever been in my life. And the reason being is whenever you hear the song "Come on Vacation, Leave on Probation," they would talk. That's an actual true statement. You know, that is a true statement. But there's a way they actually police. Not each county. Each county polices a little different.
Okay.
And one of the worst counties is DeKalb County. And I lived in DeKalb County for many, many, many years, more than I should have. And DeKalb County, again, from the age of 16 to the age of 40, my interactions with them, a normal interaction was me being snatched out of the car, face down on the concrete, knee in my back, and a pistol to my head. For me, that was normal policing until I got to El Paso.
How many times?
At least 100.
100 times.
1 second, guys. I mean, we have, sorry to interrupt. We have a phone call. Somebody who wants to come on the air. Well, let's listen to what they have to say. Let's see. Sure, it's a filter call. Already, we're good. A ver. Hi, you're here at Luck Coffee Hour, Epic Hour, 5 to 6 p.m., 92.7 FM and 1340 a.m. Welcome to the show. Hola. Adelante, bienvenido. En español o en inglés, como quiera. Lo escuchamos. We're listening. Hello. Yeah, I'm listening to myself. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Sorry about that. But we have some calls, and sometimes they get filtering. Sometimes they get a little bit stuck. Don't worry. You can keep on calling us at 915-772-8400. And if you need a translation, ask for it. I'm a professional interpreter. I would love to render a translation. This is a very important topic. I've seen his videos, are really good, and he's explaining us now what is it all about here on radio station, and of course you're going to give us direction for them to actually get to see your videos.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, and I actually have a branded URL for YouTube, and it's basically YouTube Supreme Decisions. It should pop up before you even finish typing it into the search bar in YouTube. But yeah, for the most part, prior to coming here, that was a normal interaction. I've had 6 interactions with police officers here, and the funniest thing is you see lights, you don't hear sirens, which I was like, okay, that's amazing to me because that's new. That's not a normal thing that I've grown up with. Now, the way police officers approach me, they don't walk with the chest out and they don't walk with their hands on their guns. Here, in El Paso. Again, those are new things to me.
Okay.
They don't speak aggressively. Mm-hmm. And for me, for me here, I think the one thing that kind of keeps me here is the fact that I tell everybody why do I love El Paso, and I tell them it's because I'm not black here.
Yeah, exactly. You're human, period.
And that's the
fantastic
whole thing.
Hey, that's our city right here. We'll be here for like 19 years. You what? Forever. 31. We have the phone call, Rodo. We have the phone call. Okay, yeah, well, just jump in. Hi, you're at the Epic Hour, Luck Coffee Hour. How you doing? Está al aire. Adelante. I can't hear a thing from. Yeah, no, I know, but I mean, there's a problem with the phone. The person we have there, for some reason, cannot get through. If we solve the problem, we will solve the problem. Sorry for the interruption.
No problem.
We're just trying to see if they probably have a question. If not, leave the question there at cabin, and they will be more than happy to switch our masters to take it. 915-784. Did I see it right? 772-8400. No, I didn't. 772-8400. You were saying something fantastic. That's true. Here's not about being white, black, or yellow, or green, or whatever. You say, hey, you have 2 hands, 5 fingers an inch. You're human. What is it? I remember that movie was saying, The Free State of Jones. If you walk in 2 legs, you can talk to me. I can understand you. You're human. That's it. You're part of us, right? Yeah. Period. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And for me, it's actually refreshing because here, the one thing I did when I first got here, everybody asked me, are you going home? And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna make that trip
Yeah,
back to
this is
Georgia.
home.
And then literally the last 3 or 4 Thanksgiving and 3 or 4 Christmases, I spent with somebody else's family, and they don't treat me as like I'm an outsider. I always tell everybody I'm a lost cousin or something, you know, because that's the way I feel here. There is never a time I feel outside. Just like I met everybody here for the first time, and I'm probably more comfortable than I should be right now. You know, but that's
We
what
gotta
it is.
be-
This
we
is
gotta
El
be
Paso
very
to
happy.
me. You know, that's El Paso to me. But at the same time, I look at how they police, and it's almost like, why is this so difficult to be done all over the country? Because, you know, it's not like, yes, it's labeled as the safest city in America, yada, yada, yada. But I look at the phrase of being a part of a sports team. Even when I coach, my kids that I coached reflected my attitude. So if your policing is reflecting an aggressive manner, they're reflecting the attitude of their leadership. If their policing is reflecting something that's degrading to the public, that is the leadership they're reflecting. And my question is, why is that so hard? How is it so hard for you to walk up to somebody and just ask a question? How are you doing?
Right.
Why do you need my ID to see how I'm doing?
Exactly.
See if the picture smiles as well as I can smile.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and even one, it was a guy. He walks up to a guy and said, "Oh well, I'm investigating a suspicious person." Boston and Florida say, "I don't even have to participate in your investigation." U.S. v. Sharp says you got 19 minutes. And I don't have to do anything until you articulate something. Why? Because you're a servant. You are serving me. You actually stood up, raised your hand to God, and said, I'm going to serve him.
That's great. That's great.
First and foremost.
And
I like
if
how you cite those court cases.
Yeah, but see, those are things that have become a part of me.
Right.
Why? Because those are the interactions that I had.
Exactly.
Those are the conversations that I had because they feel they have some type of authority. No, you don't have authority until there's a crime, which you must first articulate.
And I think it's refreshing that you have members of the law enforcement community following you on YouTube.
Yes.
This is not anti-law enforcement. This is not anti-police.
Right.
These are members of the law enforcement community that have open minds, and they're saying, you know what? We need to listen to what this brother has to say.
And they ask questions.
And they ask questions. Exactly.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's not about trying to harm anyone. It's about them getting home safe,
Right.
and me getting home safe.
That's what it's all about.
And that because they make the job for me. There are millions of police officers. Let's call. We look at the bad apple. Why? Because it's so easy. Because they don't want. It's the few that we're looking at.
Right.
But the problem is the I'm not actually my brother's keeper.
Right.
I'm not gonna do it, but I'm not gonna correct his behavior.
It's the 1% that's dirty,
Yes.
and the 99% that
That's
is
turning
looking
away.
the other way.
Exactly. And that's the problem.
That is the problem. So we educate the 99,
Right.
and they will self-police
Yes.
the 1%.
On that note, I have to go back to that basis of fear.
Yes.
They are aggressive because they are afraid of the citizenry.
Yes.
They are, I would say this right here. My father began to train me in martial arts from the age of 3. Right now, I'm a martial arts grandmaster. When I walk through society, I'm not afraid of anyone. I don't feel like I need to shoot anybody to protect myself because I feel like the average 2 or 3 men that step to me, they're going to receive a life lesson. And I honestly believe if police officers were better trained in self-defense and martial arts, they wouldn't have to be so quick to go toward deadly force. Because they want to go home, like my brother was saying, just like you want to go home at the end of the day. But as a fighter, as a person who has been fighting my entire life, I know that if I do not train for combat, then if I find myself in combat, I'm probably not going to fare very well. So the same way that they go to the gun range and practice shooting at targets, I think they need to spend, I think especially if you've been in law enforcement for 9, 10, 15 years, why are you not a black belt?
Right.
That's interesting to us.
But I'm gonna build on to that what you said, because a police officer's oath is is the preservation of life. Now, which is why they're given 7 non-lethal weapons at all times, and hand-to-hand combat is one of the things they are certified in first. Before they get a gun, they're trained in hand-to-hand combat. The second thing they're certified in is a taser. And I actually had a conversation with a police officer. And my thing is, why do I have to get certified in hand-to-hand combat and certified in a taser? Because to be certified in hand-to-hand combat, I got to go fight some people. Not one person, people. To be certified with a taser, I have to be tased. But they give me a gun. And that is generally the first thing they got their hand on. That's where they rest. That's their comfortable position on a lethal weapon. Why is that?
So if I have to qualify with the taser, I must be tased. Well, I must have to get shot to be qualified to carry a gun.
Right? I mean, actually, one very interesting thing is that what Emerson, you were calling it, right? I mean, as a person I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and one of the things that my father told me when I was a kid is, you're a problem kid, you're fighting a lot at school, you're gonna have your behind whooped a little bit, you're gonna be slapped a little bit so you can learn this, and eventually you're gonna be taught lessons in life. And you're right, you learn and you walk freely, you feel at ease because you know that you have some control of the situation. Of course, the first thing that comes to your mind is, I hope I never get into a situation of violence. But how about, and you were saying it right, I mean, with the training, hand-to-hand combat, they're training tasers, they're training guns, shooting guns and everything. And I was saying, hey, you gotta be tased, you gotta be shot as well. I mean, like that. Well, the thing is that they should have already, being or not black belts, they are already trained in the use of force. That's why you're there in the street, or you're supposed to. So if you are trained in use of force, you need to know how to prevent that use of force. How do you see so many cases of people that have been killed because of the hand-to-hand combat situation, use of force with people that had health issues, and all of a sudden they felt, they got to find a situation where they're being choked because these people are insecure. That's the only way why you will be violent against somebody who is in inferiority conditions because they don't have a taser or a gun or the authority or the badge, which is the scariest things for many people, right?
Thank you so much, Richard Elbay. Yeah, we do. We have another caller in, and I was given the pleasure by Ryan Adams, who took me out to Ranch on the Rock for some great barbecue this last Saturday.
Hey,
and I met.
We didn't hear anything about that. We didn't give the memo.
Yep.
Next time, guys, the three of us, we're going to Goofa. We're not telling you on the table.
May 6th.
Yeah, we're going
I'll
back
be 47
out
already then. So
there you go. Yep.
I'm invited.
So Ryan, why don't you go on ahead and tell us a little about what's happening out in Sierra Blanca and the gentleman who is the program coordinator for Ranch on the Rock. Go on ahead, Ryan.
It was brought to my attention of what was going on in Sierra Blanca, Texas, by our good friend Carlo Mendo. Ranch on the Rock Recovery Center is a faith-based recovery center for ex-offenders and substance abuse victims, and it's a very holistic faith-based approach to substance abuse. I met Mark Salcido, who has a very compelling story. We probably don't have time to get to his story today, but he is doing some things as it relates to permaculture, as it relates to prison reform, as it relates to food insecurity. And we are attacking these silos, if you will, simultaneously. And I'm excited about what's happening in Sierra Blanca with the Life Pod project, the aquaponics project, and the waste to energy project. And we're trying to bring all of these moving parts together. And Mark is heading this up, and we look forward to hearing from him.
I'm sorry, guys. I think that we have another phone call. We're going to try to fix it up. You're in the air. Hello, 92.7 FM. This is CNN Radio, El Paso, Texas. In Espanol and in English as well. And 1340 AM as well. You're at the Epic Hour, Love Coffee Hour. The team is back. Hi, how are you doing? Hola. ¿Con quién estamos hablando? Well, you know what? There's a problem with that call. I'm sorry, Ryan.
It's okay.
Didn't mean to, but we're trying to get people through for some reason.
No problem.
They're not getting through the calls, but we're going to get that solved. Don't worry. Go ahead. I'm sorry about that. My apologies. So, we're here at Love Coffee Hour, 1340 AM, 92.7 FM. This is Love Coffee Hour and also the Epic Hour, La Hora Cinco, the fifth hour. Emerson, you're ready to roll. Go ahead.
The next thing that I wanted to talk about is PTSD,
Yes, sir.
post-traumatic stress disorder. And I believe that both the police force and the public suffers from PTSD from the things that the public has experienced. When we see Rodney King get beat down, we think about what could happen to us.
Yeah.
When we see all types of children shot because they had a toy gun or people dragged out of cars, that shocks the psyche of the public. And so what does that do? That causes the public to fear the police, which then causes the public themselves to become more violent. I have to honestly say, for the majority of my adult life, I have had a deep distrust for the police. In fact, when I saw a police pass by, approach me, my thought was, is this day gonna end in a shootout? It wasn't until maybe about 2 months ago that I sat down and I went back over my life and I said, okay, how many police officers have you actually ran into that have beat you, that have disrespected you or whatever? And I can say out of 52 years, I ran into 2.
Wow.
And the majority of them treated me with respect. So I realized that I had some changing to do, that I should see a police officer as someone who is coming to help me, because the preponderance of the evidence says that 9 times out of 10, when I cross paths with a police officer, he is a public servant. Yes, that being said, I still must be prepared for that 1%.
We do have that phone call now, and we are ready to receive it. Please, hi. Let's see if this time he gets through. Matt was in charge. A fantastic job, as always. How you doing? Well, you're in the air, and you can talk. I mean, we can hear, and thousands can hear you as well all over, not only El Paso and the surrounding areas, but the world. How you doing? Hello, hola. Okay, well, you know what? We're not going to get any more phone calls because for some reason the person is not getting through. We can hear him, but he can probably hear us, So I'm sorry that we're interrupting that. We're going to solve these problems for the next programs as well, so don't worry about that. And you can leave the message at 915-772-8400. This is Love Coffee Hour. And also the Epic Hour, the Hora Cinco, the 5th hour. Mister, you know what? With the beard, that 30 pounds that he lost and everything, he has that George Clooney look. And he has listen,
Clooney.
he does because he has a voice. Doesn't he sound like George Clooney? I'm sorry to say that. He does. I mean, it's a plus always. I mean, come on, Yeah, not only you kind of look like him.
Idris Elba, man.
But
not George.
He reminds me of George Clooney with that movie. What is Up in the Air? When he was like, I probably collected already like 1,000 miles. He has. That's why he's a voice.
How about that?
Right
A voice
there. Okay.
of love.
Voice.
All
There
right.
you go.
But what
Sorry,
I would
buddy.
like to
There
do,
you go.
if at all possible, I know you've done remote before.
Oh yeah, we did. We did.
We're having another event with Mark Salcido and the Ranch on the Rock Recovery Center, and maybe we could do a remote.
That would
and
be
get him
awesome.
on the air,
Yeah.
and have him tell his story and what we're doing down there with Life Pod and the Waster Energy and the prison reform. I mean, it's
Many things.
it's
right?
incredible. It's like all these things just kind of came together, and we met an incredible young lady last week who's probably going to be the project manager.
Wow.
She has an incredible story too. So if you ever want to talk about resiliency and PTSD and soldier issues, correct. She can speak to that. So
When is the event going to be celebrated, Ryan? If you have any,
I want to
burning
say
dates?
the first weekend in May, if I'm not mistaken.
We talking about a Friday, Saturday? Or something
Yes.
Like that? Because
Right.
what we can do, we can record it and probably
Right. Exactly.
play it on air. I mean, later
be
on.
great.
That would be great.
That would be
great.
fantastic. Or have a call with them, something
Yes.
like that.
Absolutely.
More than ready for that. And also the idea of having like coffee hour meetings with people, things like that.
Right.
That are going to be useful. Our friend here with his new, not new, already 120. That's
amazing.
You said. That is amazing. I saw one. I got hooked. I mean, and thanks to Matt because he was sharing it with us. And people, I mean, we have this social media thing that can help us reach millions. You can help us also make that the 2 million like kind of YouTube channel. Please do when things are interesting and helpful. When you were talking about that language, Latin,
Latin, yes.
you are absolutely right. It's a language that it is pretty much alive in the judicial system. And when you mean it is pretty much alive, you talk about phrases like, for example, quid pro quo, dubious pro reo, habeas corpus, right? And I believe I'm going to pass the mic to him because he's the one who brought the subject. I will be the expert here.
All right. Well, actually, one of my first videos is going to be res judicata, and basically it means you're attaching double jeopardy to whatever it is that you're dealing with, and it's dismissed with prejudice. So this way they can't bring it up again. And a lot of times it's understanding that when you have things and you understand the three phases of law, which is corpus delicti, which is the body of the crime, and then you have mens rea, which is the guilty mind, and then you have actus reus, which is the guilty act. Those three elements have to be present in every crime. Now, the most difficult of those is mens rea, because you have to prove what somebody was thinking, and that's where you get intent, and that's where a lot of people fall short at because they get scared, they talk tough. One of my favorite judges is Napoleano. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering. I'm horrible with names.
Napolitano.
Yeah.
Andrew Napolitano. Yeah, he's awesome.
All right. One of the stats I always pull up is the fact that most of the people that are released from over 67% of the people that are released on death row because of DNA evidence were actually innocent. And it was the simple fact that they were bullied into confessions or they were bullied into some instance. So now you're looking at a system where when you make a decision 10 times, 7 of them are wrong. So then when you talk about, okay, people that go to trial, there are millions and millions of trials every year. Now, of the, let's say 95% of people actually plead because of fear, because of convenience, because of other little idiosyncrasies. Because most of us are living paycheck to paycheck and we can't afford to miss a paycheck, but we also can't afford to be paying fees for frivolous things. But we go ahead and pay them for convenience or fear. Now you look at the 5% that do go to trial. Over 75% of those people win because you can't prove what somebody's thinking. Then you look at the judge, he brought up the fact that there are millions and millions more traffic infractions. 95% of people plead out on those. But then you also look at the fact that the 5% that goes, he said he's astonished that more people don't go because of the 5% that goes for traffic violations, 95% of those people win.
Wow.
That is a crazy number.
Yes, it is.
So now what that says to me, if you're gonna put up baseball numbers against me, let's go. I'm with those odds. Now that is one thing that I've always done. I've never just said I'm guilty. Actually I lied to you. I did one time, and I was in Burke County, and they were like, your fine is $10. Okay. Okay. You know, I'm not $10 mad, you know. You know, yeah. So, but yeah, I did pay that one. But any other time, and especially the RICO case, and it was the fact that, one, I was scared, but it was the simple fact that I felt that you have to have 12 people that says I did something wrong.
Right.
Because for me, the essence of it was the fact that I was teaching people. Technically doing the same thing I'm doing with the YouTube videos. But I was doing it in a different manner. And it was taking revenue from, you know, different counties in Atlanta, and it was kind of concentrated. So I understand why it was done. And I had to rethink how I'm doing it simply because I'm giving it out now to the masses for the simple fact that when I was doing it before, it was something I always had to have my hands on. Now I don't have to have my hands on it because the people that actually want it, they're going to sit down and watch 100 videos. The people that actually feel that they need it will watch 100 videos. I don't have to have 100 conversations. I can have one. Mm-hmm. And right. It's the theory of giving a man a fish and then teaching a man how to fish. This is me teaching you how to fish because now I don't have to sit down with you 100 times and have any expectations from you. If you want it, you're going to go fishing.
That is awesome, awesome wisdom from our new legal correspondent, Richard Elbay, which I am very honored and privileged to bring you here today for Love Coffee Hour and KVIV Radio Victoria. How you like that? I did that pretty good, right?
I hear that you were born in Chile, Argentina, or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
I was born in Akron, Ohio.
I know. I was teasing you.
Around the corner
Bogotá, Colombia. Bogotá,
Yeah,
Colombia.
yeah.
That's why he loves coffee. Me too.
That's right. So I really appreciate you giving us this airtime today, Marcelo. God bless you, brother. And I also want to encourage listeners to support Love Coffee Hour by, first of all, after you subscribe to Supreme Decisions, please also subscribe to Love Coffee Hour's YouTube channel because, you know, give us some love too, y'all. All right. And also I want to talk to you more about effective economic action and how you can actually become part of the solution. Instead of remaining part of the problem, we want you to mobilize your resources and become part of the solution. And so if you would like a detailed description of what effective economic action is, please email me at lovecoffeehour@gmail.com, and I will send you a document that details what effective economic action is. We've been talking about it now for years, right? But I want to define exactly what effective economic action is, and we will help you get involved. So thank you so much.
Well, guys, I mean, we have like around 3 minutes. As always, I mean, when it is Love Coffee Hour time, it's the time of a lifetime. It's a really good show, a really good program, different voices. The synergy of those voices created is fantastic. I mean, we can be here for like hours, literally. One day we will, and probably sooner than later, So I'm very happy that you guys made it all the way. Ryan, long time no see, really. Emerson as well. Well, you and I, we see each other all the time there at the coffee shop. It's Gufo. And Richard, a pleasure to meet you and welcome to the group. Of course, you're welcome to Gufo whenever we get there for some coffee, Gufo the Milano Coffee Shop. Whenever Ryan invites us to the Rape Place, we're going to go with him too.
Actually, on April 4th,
We are invited.
April 4th, 5th, and 6th. There's going to be a conference here at the El Paso Library downtown on April 4th and 5th, and then at Sierra Blanca on the Saturday the 6th for art, for barbecue, and more conversation about peaceful solutions, effective economic action, and clean energy and food insecurity.
And I'm telling
Thank you. I got to keep it up.
you're doing fantastic.
I will celebrate the 37th anniversary of my 18th birthday.
There you go. I thought we were talking about marriage or something else.
Oh, no.
Well, you have a wonderful wife too. So I mean, you might be celebrating like, what is it? Are you been married for? Like
It'll be 30 years in May,
Close,
and I'll be 55.
That woman must be a saint.
I'll be 55 on Wednesday.
This Wednesday you're gonna.
It's coming
turn
Wednesday,
55? You see, we got a birthday party coming on. There you go, fantastic. Well, gifts and presents sent to. Presents sent
Presents?
to. Here to Love Coffee Hour.
Absolutely.
Ryan will come and pick him up. He's gonna be
Exactly.
more than happy to. Guys, thank you very much. Richard, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully, I'll be back a lot more.
Yes, you will.
Yes, you will.
Welcome
Again,
to the family.
Exactly. Ryan, thank you very much. Always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Great
It's
boys.
always a
and
pleasure.
Great stuff as always. Emerson, well, man, I mean, I told you already, you should be the president of this country. I mean, the voice this guy had, the calmness. It's like, I'm going to record him, and when I have those anxious moments at night, I'm going to, just play the record, it's just, there you go. Now I can go to sleep at ease. But with more wisdom. That's true. With more wisdom. He always teach you something. And I thank you for that, for real.
Absolutely. Just remember, I was born by the river.
Let him sing. Let him sing. And he's good, man. He knows his stuff. You know what? Matt Aswell, thank you very much. Go ahead. You got the mic.
You got to do that La Radio thing.
You're right. Because
That's
if
right.
this is not the radio, I don't know what radio is. But we got to do it in Spanish, right? You got to bring your Colombian
refresh our
accent.
memory. You say,
Y si esto no es la radio,
and we say,
la radio, ¿dónde está? Oh, man. Love Coffee Hour. It doesn't get any better than this. This is the best team there is. Gracias, Rodolfo. Gracias, Michael. Thank you, guys. We'll be back. You have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
bye-bye.